What's up, guys? This is Anime Crossover. I'm back with a new episode of What If Naruto Was the Rat Flash Part 27. And if you did enjoy this video, please give this video a like. And if you're new to my channel and like my content, subscribe and hit the notification bell for more crossover fictions with a twist. Now let's begin this new video.
Chapter 3 Earth 28 2015 It was late at night in a forest when a blue portal appeared, and Naruto sped out of it and slid to a stop, nearly tripping on a boulder and breaking his neck. Naruto removed his disguise and glanced about, not knowing where he was. As Gideon's visage showed, he looked down at his gauntlet. "Gideon, where am I?" "You are on Earth 28. An Earth you haven't explored in your future adventures, but you've noted that this Earth lacks a Flash or Speedster. This Earth is one of the few in the multiverse that doesn't house metahumans or super beings," Gideon revealed. "So, this is a regular human Earth. Huh, where do I sign up for an apartment?" Naruto inquired. "This Earth shares some similarities with your Earth in that it uses the same currency and has a similar history, but the timeline here is different because it is now October 31st, 2015. When he heard gunshots down the road, Naruto exclaimed, "Halloween! Awesome, it's always something." He hurriedly changed out of his suit, not wanting to look out of place, and ran to the sound of gunshots. He ultimately arrived at a residence that appeared to be undergoing renovations. More gunshots rang out, and he noticed a pale-skinned woman sitting in a car beside the driveway. He approached her and tapped the window, attracting her attention. "What the hell are you doing here?" she inquired. "I'd like to ask you the same question. You hear gunshots and don't drive away?" Naruto questioned. When they observed a guy leap out of the second-floor window, she told him, "My friend's a cop. He's arresting someone." "Is that the guy?" Naruto inquired, to which the girl responded by climbing into the driver's seat and driving at him. "Wait. Damn it." Because the girl was blocking his car and escape route, he got out and pointed his revolver at her. "Get out of that car. Get out of that car or I'll shoot you," he yelled, but the girl remained motionless. He then shot her in the chest before opening the door and yanking her body out. "Hey," the guy said as Naruto sprang over the car and kicked him in the face, knocking him to the ground. The man stood up and aimed his gun, but Naruto grabbed his hand and shoved it up, sparing himself from 2 bullets. He hit the man in the stomach, broke his arm at the elbow, and tossed the gun away. He kicked him in the leg before knocking him out with a right cross to the face. He checked on the girl after the guy was knocked out and dealt with. Hey, are you okay?" he questioned, shifting the girl onto her back and saw that she was alright, but her eyes were red. He noticed a bullet hole in her chest that wasn't bleeding. What the hell? When she saw him, she let out a greedy animal-like roar and nearly leapt at him, but then she heard Clive approaching and hurriedly got up and turned back. She relaxed as her eyes returned to normal and she zipped up her jacket, concealing the bullet wound. Live, Clive said as he hurried over to see if she was okay. "I saw you get shot." Clive exhaled a sigh of relief when Liv informed him, he missed. "I'm fine." He pulled his gun when he saw Pratt on the ground, unconscious, and a mystery man he didn't recognize. "Seattle PD, don't move." "Okay, don't want trouble," Naruto said, raising his hand and kneeling. "It's okay, Clive." "He stopped Pratt and made sure I was okay," Liv said. Clive paused for a second before lowering his rifle. "Are Tess and Monica okay?" "Yeah, they're a little shaken up, but they're fine. He was about to kill them, and we arrived just in time, thanks to you," Clive remarked to Liv. His gaze was drawn away from Naruto, who swiftly began tapping on his watch and instructed Gideon to begin a remote hack into the police database using the computer in Clive's car and create an identity for him. "And you drove. Seriously, how did you solve crimes before me? I feel like I'm kind of important to this whole operation. Want me to check him out?" "I'm a doctor," Liv volunteered. "Go see the girls. I got this," Clive replied as she walked over to Pratt's residence and cuffed him. "You're right, this is much sweeter. Now, mystery man, who are you and why am I not arresting you right now?" "Because I assisted in your arrest. I took down the bad guy using non-lethal means. Granted, I didn't know he was a bad guy, but I figured he was given his running and shooting at your friend," Naruto explained. "Alright, who are you? What's your name?" Clive said as Naruto glanced down at his watch and noticed the pseudonym Gideon had created for him, Nathaniel Hideo. Naruto introduced himself as Nathaniel Hideo, "but you can call me Nathan." "Nathaniel Hideo?" inquired Clive. "Are you originally from around here?" "Not exactly. And what exactly does not mean?" Clive inquired. I got lost on my way to the city and was walking there when I saw a car, and that guy jumped out the window, and your friend tried to stop her and almost got shot, so I ran in to help, Naruto stated. I'm trained in martial arts. You don't mind coming down to the station to answer a few questions, do you? Clive inquired. Even if I did mind, you'd still want me there, Naruto explained. My best friend is a CSI, so I know how police work, but I'll come down to answer some questions. Right, Clive said, pulling up his phone and calling in some cops to protect the area. With his focus elsewhere, Naruto checked his identity and discovered that Gideon had made him an independent research scientist from Los Angeles on vacation in Seattle. Perfect, simple, and catered to his strengths. At the station, Naruto, now known as Nathaniel Hideo, was questioned further and his identity and statement were verified. Naruto stated that he was on vacation in Seattle and was taking a cab home when he became suspicious of the cab driver, so he got out halfway back to his hotel, which is how he found up in the middle of nowhere. The detective bought it for the time being since he was more concerned with ending the investigation, which was a good thing. Naruto had Gideon put a little backdoor window virus after the interview since there was something he wanted to look into. He quickly left and found a cheap motel room nearby. He scanned the personnel database using his backdoor into the police database to discover that woman from before. He saw her take a bullet to the heart and get back up like nothing happened, not to mention the blood-red eyes, growling, and I want to devour your heart face. He tracked down the woman and discovered she was Olivia Moore, a police medical examiner. Her photo showed a normal-looking brown-haired woman, not the pale-skinned, short-cut white-haired superhuman he encountered. She was a former Seattle hospital medical resident before abruptly leaving and joining Dr. Chakrabarti in the medical examiner's room over 5 months ago. He did some additional research to learn more about her, but the only thing that jumped out was that she was a survivor of the Seattle boat party massacre, and her life changed soon after. This world may not have superheroes, but something else is going on, Naruto reflected. Liv was at the morgue with Ravi, who was performing open heart surgery on her and extracting the bullet slug from her chest. I can't believe it. I was shot in the heart and survived. It's unbelievable, Liv added. I think the most incredible thing is that I'm doing open heart surgery on you with no anesthesia, Ravi said as he pulled out the slightly dented bullet. I'd offer to stitch it up, but there's not even much blood. Must relieve the pressure when your patient is already dead, Liv said. Hey, you have to stop calling yourself that. You're not dead, you're undead. Big difference. Hey, you have to stop calling yourself that. You're not dead, you're undead. Just think about what you did tonight. You helped save 2 women's lives, you got justice for another, and you got a very bad man off the streets, Ravi remarked as Liv looked apprehensive. What gives you that worried look? Because we have another problem. Clive and I weren't the only ones there. He's the one who stopped Pratt after he shot me, and he saw me go full on zombie mode, Liv explained. He saw you, as in actually saw you go all red-eyed? Ravi inquired, to which Liv replied with a yes. Yeah, full 28 days later with a rage bomb. I was seconds away from attacking him and would have done so if Clive hadn't shown up, Liv explained. He saw me, and it's only a matter of time before he goes around telling everyone that the zombie apocalypse has begun. Okay, let's not panic now. Who's to say that anyone will believe him? And if he was there, that means Detective Babineau most likely followed up with an interview, which means we'll have his information and his name. We find this guy and then we can do a little damage control. Ravi suggested. But that's a headache for tomorrow. For now, don't worry because you won't go hungry again. We have some work to do, and you have fresh brains for later. XXXXX line break. The death of an artist named Javier Abano was Liv and Ravi's next case. A paintbrush was rammed into his eye, killing him. He was a colorful nudist artist, and whether he was excellent or not was debatable, but he was their next case. While she was struggling with that, Liv started having dreams about the person she met the night of the party that transformed her into a zombie. He was alive and a zombie like her, and he may be the catalyst for the zombie apocalypse in Seattle. She was searching the internet for him with little success. Unless you count my nightmares, I've had no luck finding my mystery zombie survivor. I've searched Instagram accounts of survivors, I've gone through all the photos on Facebook pages of everyone who was listed as being at the party, and nothing, Liv remarked, agitated. Perhaps you should take a break. You know, chill out. Clear your mind. Ravi handed her a fashion magazine. Hotter sex tonight. 5 easy steps. Ravi explained, I stole it from the dentist's office. I also have some potentially good news and some potentially bad news. I have the name of the man who saw you the night you saved the girls. That's great. Who is he? Liv inquired. Nathaniel Hideo. Los Angeles native and an independent scientist currently in Seattle for vacation, although that's all I've been able to figure out. I've looked up his name and no social media or any other mentions, Ravi explained. That seems strange, Liv observed. What exactly did Clive do? He asked him some questions about why he was there, but everything seemed to be on the up and up. His identity and social security number indicate he's a real person, but there's nothing else I can find on him without a warrant, and that's not my job. I can't even find out where he's staying in the city, if he's even still here, Ravi concluded. And that's the bad news, Liv stated as she sat in the chair, flipping through the magazine. Well, at least no word of a zombie apocalypse has spread yet, so that's good news, Ravi answered when he noticed her blank expression. She was experiencing a 1-minute vision. Is that a reaction to sex tip number 4, because I didn't understand it either. Javier was having an affair, and it was pretty hot, Liv said him as Ravi shrugged his shoulders and gazed at Javier's head corpse. Liv left to inform Detective Babino, leaving Ravi to finish working on Javier's body. Ravi heard a knock at the door and saw Nathaniel Hideo, the mystery savior Liv and Clive met, standing there with a backpack on his back. Evening, Dr. Chakrabarti, or would you prefer to be addressed differently? I'm fine, Ravi. Can I assist you? Ravi inquired. That depends on what you know. I came here to see Olivia, Naruto explained. Ravi corrected him, she prefers Liv, and she's not here right now. Is there anything I can do for you? Like I said, it depends on what you know, Naruto replied as he entered the morgue and looked around. It's about Liv and how she ended up working for you. It's strange that a medical resident on her way to becoming a doctor would suddenly drop out and work at the Mies office. I imagine it's a bit of a downgrade. True, but we have good benefits, and Liv felt a change of pace was in order, Ravi responded. Yeah, I imagine getting sick would do that to someone, Naruto said as Ravi gave him a weird look that made him laugh. You can stop playing dumb, Dr. Chakrabarti, I know about Liv. Oh, thank God, because it's been incredibly difficult to keep this to myself. You don't plan to tell anyone, do you? Ravi inquired, only to be met with shrugged shoulders. Who would believe me anyway? Said Naruto. I imagine telling people the zombie apocalypse has begun would get you a few odd looks, Ravi said, only for Naruto to laugh. Ah, zombie? That makes a smidgen of sense given what happened to her, Naruto thought to himself. You didn't know? Ravi inquired. That she was a zombie. Now I know, thanks. Naruto smirked as Ravi hit his forehead. You gave up far too easily. Zombies, would you mind explaining? That depends on who's asking, Ravi said, only for Naruto to fly around him in a blur and then reappear in his prior location, holding a comic book with a distinct-looking red-clad speedster on the cover and another manga book with his first name on the cover. Someone from out of town, Naruto said, his eyes wide and his jaw slack. Liv's travel with Clive to talk to Javier Abano's wife about his mistress proved to be an eye-opener into the artist's love life, and the mistress turned out to be a lover that the wife was aware of. Suffice it to say, things were heating up, and they were now digging into possibly other loves or scorned exes. She walked down the stairs into the medical lab and spotted Ravi having a milkshake and talking with the guy she nearly ate in a zombie rage-induced hunger. Liv, you've arrived. Fantastic. I'd like you to meet someone. Naruto, this is Liv. Liv, meet your daring superhero savior Naruto, Ravi said as Naruto sipped his milkshake. Naruto grinned as he said, pleasure to meet you, Ms. Moore. Just Liv is fine, she said, a little puzzled as to why he was here, as Ravi noticed. It's all right, Liv. He's a friend and knows everything. Yeah, because I tricked Ravi into spilling the beans. Wasn't that difficult, so you might want to work on your lies in the future, Naruto joked, drawing Ravi's gaze away as Liv flashed him a deadly glare. Don't worry, Liv. Ravi has explained everything, and your secret is safe with me. Thank you, Liv said, but I can't help but feel there's something I'm missing, he smirked. She's quick, he remarked. Ravi stated, I told you. Don't worry, Liv. He's one of the good guys. The best guys, if you can believe it. It's probably better to show you. I'll be right back. Naruto sprang up and cracked his neck before bolting out of the morgue in a flash and whoosh of air that swept past Liv. Ravi just smirked as she was stunned beyond belief. That still gets me every time. So cool, Ravi said as he stood up and walked over to examine some medical records. What was that? Liv wondered as another whoosh of air passed her and Naruto reappeared in the lab carrying a tray of coffee. Sorry for the delay. They were out of vanilla syrup, he explained as he handed Ravi one of the cups. Oh, it's okay. I'll Liv, Ravi said as Naruto handed Liv a cup of coffee. Here you go. Ravi says you like it black these days, Naruto explained. Thank you, Liv said, puzzled by what she observed as Naruto strolled over to the table and handed her a Flash comic book. You're kidding. Sorry, but no, it's not all that complicated when you think about it. Just your typical dimension-hopping shenanigans, Naruto replied. Ravi added, like Rick and Morty. I would have chosen the one, Naruto remarked, and Ravi agreed. Ah, I like that too. I always enjoy a good Jet Li action film, Ravi added. Basically, I'm a super speed hero from another dimension. I was blasted from my Earth trying to stop a world-destroying black hole and landed in a parallel version of my Earth, fighting off evil metahumans and evil doppelgangers. After I got fast enough, I began opening up portals to jump to other Earths, Naruto explained. And I've already asked a lot of questions about the multiverse and stuff, and I still have more, Ravi explained to Liv. So, jumping from one Earth to another is normal for you? Liv remarked as Naruto sipped his coffee. As normal as eating brains has been for you. Speaking of which, Naruto activated the scanner by pressing a few buttons on his watch and began scanning all of Liv. What are you doing? Liv was perplexed as to why she was being scanned with a bright laser. Well, Ravi told me he was working on a cure for your zombie condition, and it piqued my scientific curiosity, so here I am to help. Naruto explained. I know it may not seem like much, but on my Earth I'm a literal super genius. Emphasis on the word literal because my brain literally gets smarter and smarter. If anyone has a shot at figuring out this type of zombie disease, it's me. Liv replied, sounds good to me. Excellent, and my lab is ready for you to use. Now, where are we on our seductive dead artist? Feeling particularly creative or horny? Ravi joked when he saw Liv stare Naruto up and down like a tiger eyeing a gazelle, except in sexual lust rather than hunger. Never mind. Naruto caught Liv's attention and snapped his fingers in her face to get her to focus. Sorry. Seductive artist brain is pretty potent. No problem. You are lovely, Liv, but I have a girlfriend, Naruto said as his watch finished scanning. Time to get to work. While Naruto analyzed the data from Liv's scans and blood samples taken by Ravi, Liv and Ravi worked on the case with Detective Babino. Liv even discovered a new skill she learned while on the brain, imitating the victim's artistic ability. Naruto and Ravi entered the morgue the next day to find Liv chatting to the guy who scratched her and transformed her into a zombie at the boat party. You really nailed the historic chin, Ravi said. I'm delighted to have you here, and if you haven't used the facilities yet, a urine sample would be greatly appreciated. That confused Liv and the guy, but it did lead to Ravi and Naruto investigating the new zombie named Blaine. I have no idea how this happened to me. Granted, I was high the night of the boat party. It's insane to be talking about it, Blaine remarked. While Naruto obtained another blood sample, Ravi examined his pupil movement. Ravi inquired, would you mind if I checked inside your ears? Brother, do what you have to do. I'll drop true if you think you can cure this, Blaine said before turning to face Liv. So, how did you become a zombie? Did it happen on the night of the boat party? Yes, it happened at the boat party. You tried to sell me utopium, smacked my ass, went all zombie on me, and clawed my forearm, Liv explained. No, seriously. Blaine believed they were joking, but Liv's expression warned him otherwise. I can't even. Are you sure it was me? Yes. Because things got pretty crazy that night. How do I even apologize for that night? I swear to God, if I weren't 95% sure I'd survive, I'd throw myself off a bridge right now. I would. Blaine punched the table, causing a pile of tools to fall to the ground, triggering a vision for Liv. Did you just? Where have you gone? There's something I need to take care of, so you should get going, Liv said. Oh, it's all right, Liv. I can finish up, Ravi reassured her, but Blaine understood what she meant. Ah, she doesn't want to leave you with me, fair enough, Blaine said as he grabbed his jacket and exited the morgue. I'm not sure it was necessary, Ravi said. Neither am I, she said. Don't worry, Liv. I'll look after Ravi if he returns. Go, Naruto reassured her. Thank you, she said as she hung up her lab coat and grabbed her jacket to go meet Detective Babino. Naruto spent the rest of the day reviewing the data, even staying after Ravi had left, and then taking travels all around the country. He was gone for the whole of the day, and when he returned, Liv had completed the case of the deceased artist. When he stepped in with his backpack, she and Ravi were cleaning up the mortuary. Naruto said, "Hey, sorry I've been gone for the day." Liv thought, "Where have you been?" "I was out getting some stuff they don't sell at the local pharmacy or even have in the Mies lab. The CDC in Atlanta," Naruto stated as he sat down at a desk. "You went all the way to Atlanta?" Ravi inquired. "I might have stolen a few things while I was there that you won't tell anyone about," Naruto admitted. "I'm not only a zombie, but I'm also an accessory to a federal crime," Liv remarked. "Do you want to know anything about the virus or not?" Naruto inquired. "Yes, please," Ravi said. "Does the CDC have a strain of this virus in their database? Because if they do, I'm suing them for my termination." "No, I thoroughly checked the CDC's database, and they don't have records of a zombie disease," Naruto assured him. Liv clarified, "You mean you hacked the CDC database?" Semantics. "Anyway, this virus is extremely complex and fascinating at the same time, but I've managed to figure out a lot. Considering Liv's status and how she's able to move, walk, and talk as she could before, we're dealing with something different. Believe it or not, you can actually equate this virus to something like the phenomenon of zombie ants," Naruto told them. "Excuse me?" Liv was perplexed. "There's a special fungus known as Ophiocordyceps, which is a deadly fungi species, but this species of fungi targets and infects various insects through spores. One of the species they control is carpenter ants, and the fungi essentially takes control of the insect's mind, altering its behavior to make propagation of the fungal spores more likely. Now, while you and the zombie ant aren't exactly the same. Which would explain Liv's change in skin and hair color," Ravi remarked. "Exactly. The virus has deadened the normal processes for those parts of her body that are normally controlled by the brain, most likely in an effort to make the host, that being you Liv, more infectious." "God, this virus sounds like a mad scientist," Liv observed. "And viruses are like mad scientists. They're one of the scariest fundamental forces of nature that can bring mankind to its knees if we're not careful. Viruses are smart, they can reproduce and make themselves stronger to survive for their ultimate goal of spreading. And to maximize its effects, it puts its host body in a position where it maximizes its capability of being spread to another host." "That's great, but what about the whole eating brains thing?" Liv inquired. "That is actually the body's and brain's defense mechanism against the virus. Our bodies are remarkable pieces of biology, and I ran some simulations, and it turns out that when the virus is injected, the body immediately does what it can to stave off the infection for as long as possible and save certain parts of the host. That's why your heart is still beating, your lungs work, and everything else. No offense. None taken, so I need to eat brains to keep my brain safe?" Liv was perplexed by that logic. "Pretty much, but I think it's the chemical phenethylamine that the body needs to keep the virus at bay." Naruto presented them a chemical formula for the substance phenethylamine, also known as P. It's an organic compound that acts as a central nervous system stimulant in humans, helping regulate monoamine neurotransmissions and working as a neurotransmitter to the central nervous system. "I believe your brain is using its supply of phenethylamine to continuously combat the virus and keep it from turning you into a true zombie, but because it's using so much to not only regulate your normal body functions but also to keep the virus at bay, it runs out, which is why you need it." "How exactly is that good news?" Liv inquired. "Liv, phenethylamine, while more concentrated in the brain, is also found in other things like certain types of fungus and even chocolate, and it's even sold as a dietary supplement for mood and weight loss related therapeutic benefits," Ravi said, giving Liv some optimism. "So, all this time I could have been eating chocolate to help me?" Liv asked. "Give me a Hershey's bar." "But there's some bad news as well. While it's found in other foods and sold as dietary supplements, when it's orally ingested, a significant amount of it is metabolized by the small intestine and turned into something else. You need a higher concentration that's not available in typical medicine and other foods, which is why you go for brains," Naruto pointed out, lowering Liv's mood. "However, I'm working on some enhanced phenethylamine alternatives that will be able to help you. I should have something to test by tomorrow." "That's great. Does that mean I won't have to eat brains anymore?" Liv wondered, hoping because, while they felt great, the texture was awful. "I'm going to go with a soft maybe," Naruto replied, not giving Liv the response she expected. "I'm sorry, Liv, but I won't know for sure until I do more research on this virus and your body's reaction to my phenethylamine substitute. To be safe, it appears you're sticking to brains." Yeah, fun, Liv murmured. And there's no cure? Ravi pondered. That I'm still working on and will take the longest. This virus is a complicated son of a bitch, so you're in for a long haul, Naruto explained. Oh, joy, Liv said. XXXXX line break. Naruto was having a good time in Seattle so far. He had always wanted to see the metropolis but had never had the opportunity to do so on his previous planet. He went to Pike Place Market and viewed the Space Needle while looking for items to help Liv. He enjoyed being here, other from rushing across the city to get food or supplies. It was almost like a mini vacation. He didn't have to utilize his abilities to halt metahumans or aliens, or to end a war between two tribes of humans and infiltrate a mountain to save some children. He could just relax, eat some food, and use his brain to aid Liv, which was good with him. He was more than glad to eat to his heart's content after discovering Red Mill burgers. He'd feast himself till he popped if it hadn't been for his metabolism, but after being on Earth 21 with a limited food supply, he'd gorge himself until he popped. That wasn't going to happen with his metabolism. He was hanging out in the morgue with Liv and Ravi, sitting in their little lounge kitchen and baking the new phenethylamine alternatives for Liv in their oven. They were constructed of phenethylamine and other components, and with Gideon's assistance, he was able to create a proper ratio formula for a test trial that would provide Liv's body and the virus with what they required, so she wouldn't have to rely just on brains. He was killing time as they baked in the oven by going through a collection of Flash comics he had bought up at a local comic shop. And, among other things, he had his problems. Why does Barry and this Wally West get all the love? Naruto inquired, laying down the 1993 DC comic The Flash, Volume 2, Number 74. Too many speedsters. Other Flash books cluttered the desk, some of which were copies of Golden Age to Silver Age comics, and at the top of the pile was 2007 The Flash, The Fastest Man Alive Number 1. Impulse is a sidekick, and even then, it's not me. It's Barry's grandson. I really need a publicist. To be fair, you explained that the multiverse is such a vast realm of possibilities that an Earth where your partner is fictional and you don't exist has to make some sense, Ravi pointed out. I did, and it was freaky. It was like a manga I read back on my Earth. I don't know how things are so weird and different yet similar, and to be honest, I'm fine with not knowing. Naruto read the comic book with breakneck speed. And, while they've given me some cool ideas for how to use my powers, I don't like how the Impulse moniker isn't as well known as the Flash. I should write the comic book company. And say what? That you're a superhero from another planet who wants your comic book name to be taken more seriously? Liv inquired, only to be met with a shrug from Naruto. Is that too much to ask? He asked, eliciting a chuckle from Liv as she went about her work. I'm hungry. Are you hungry? Liv questioned as she extracted organs from a dead cadaver. Saying that with your hands in a dead guy's stomach is a little unsettling, Naruto observed as his phone's alarm went off. Looks like our first batch is done. Naruto put on oven mitts and removed from the oven a tray of various colored meals bars. They appeared to be granola bars, but the aroma was savory, like a grilled steak or roasted chicken breast. That smells delicious, Ravi said as he and Liv approached Naruto's 16 phenethylamine meal bars, each 4 of which was a slightly different hue. I'm almost tempted to eat one right now. You technically can. There's no brains in this, just a high concentration of phenethylamine, so if you want to go for it, but these are for Liv and her food supply is limited, so don't be that guy, Naruto reminded him, and Liv gave Ravi a look that made him nod grudgingly. There will be no consumption of Liv's brain food. Alright. After everything you told me about your eating schedule, I've managed to pack enough phenethylamine into a bar to last you about the same amount of time as a regular brain meal. I've also included some vitamins, minerals, and what you would normally need in a meal to make a small portable 2,000-calorie meal in a bar. And I've gotten creative with the flavorings and spices to hopefully give you a variety. Which is probably why they're color-coded, Liv explained, and Naruto agreed. Exactly. The plain ones are just plain ones. The orange ones are pizza, fra diavolo sauce kind for when you're craving Italian, the blue ones are blueberry pancake, and the green ones are kale, wheatgrass smoothie, vegetable. I figured that being zombie, you must miss vegetables in some form. Naruto explained. Oh, they all sound delicious, Liv said, licking her lips. But remember, these aren't a complete replacement. All the tests I've run show that you still need brains to survive. These are just gonna help in case food runs out or you can't get to a brain in time, and to give you some variety, Naruto continued, and Liv nodded. but I'm still unsure how they'll work with you eating regular brains, so we'll be running frequent tests. I've been doing that a lot lately, and I'm used to it, Liv murmured. Have you found a cure? In response, Naruto shook his head. Unfortunately, no, the virus is a stubborn piece of work and remarkably resilient. Even against a sample of blood, the virus was able to overcome my body's natural accelerated healing. I do have a healing serum, but I don't think it'll help much. So, what are we going to do? Liv thought. I'm looking into the boat party incident because that's where you turned, and if I can figure out what caused such a chaotic turn of zombie rage, then I might be able to figure out an antidote, he planned before grabbing one of the plain phenethylamine bars and handing it to Liv. Time to see if you explode? What? Inquired Liv and Ravi. I'm kidding, Naruto insisted. Let's just see how your body handles the bar, then you can have some brains for dessert. Liv nodded and sat down before taking a big breath and biting into the bar. To be honest, her deadened taste senses picked up on a hint of flavor, but it was as bland as eating a plain granola bar. Given that Liv had only eaten brains and severe spiciness, it was a wonderful respite. She finished the bar in 2 more bits and swallowed, finding no problems with what she ate thus far. Naruto kept a careful eye on her, scanning her physique with his watch and placing sensor nodes obtained from a lab on her skull. Even though it was plain, it tasted exactly like a granola bar, and I've never tasted anything so good, Liv said, and Naruto grinned. Thank you for your assistance. How do you feel so far? He scanned her body with his watch's sensor, and Gideon recorded the necessary data beside the sensors. Well, I ate something that helped curb a craving for brains, and I haven't experienced any weird mood swings or behavior changes, Liv explained as he immediately collected a blood sample. I still find it incredible in the whole behavior change when you eat a brain, Naruto said, using a flashlight to examine her pupil dilation. I mean, the hard science in the brain after death does show that it remains active for several minutes after death and continues to produce neuron signals, but you've essentially proven that a lot of those signals are hard-baked into the brain matter. It's incredible. You can quote me for Scientific American, Liv jokingly said. I still find it difficult to believe that I can see memories of people I've eaten. Well, there are over 100 billion neurons in the brain, with each firing about 200 times per second and connecting to about 1,000 more neurons that do the same thing. Every single part of who we are as a person is in the neurological signals the brain fires. How we move, how we talk, what we like to do, what we like to eat, our fears, our dreams, and our memories are all stored in the brain. Since the bars are just phenethylamine, you don't have to worry about that, so you'll be Liv. Things are looking good so far, but let's see what happens when you eat brains, and I've got something special for that. I made up my dad's special hot pepper salsa. He got it from his dad, and let me tell you, it's spicy. It'll peel the paint off of walls or cook raw chicken. Ravi remarked, that sounds mildly terrifying. However, I have an interesting addition to this conversation. I set up a Google alert for the search terms Seattle, zombie. Me, too, Liv joked. No, I signed up for Z-Date. You joke, but this could be the closest thing we have to an early warning system, Ravi said. It got a couple of hits. Oh, Dawn of the Dead is showing at midnight on Friday. Undertaker's Bar in Capitol Hill added the noxious zombie to the cocktail menu. And a teenager posted a picture on his Facebook. Claims it's a zombie. Is it me? Liv pondered as she and Naruto went over to inspect the computer and found a dark snapshot of a zombie with white eyes and white hair. It appeared to be genuine. Look at the location. Abandoned shipyard on the shore of Lake Washington. Well, less than a mile from where you got turned into a zombie. We should go take a look, Ravi said to Liv. There are already 2 zombies, myself and Blaine, and now there may be a third, Liv explained. But with great power comes great responsibility, Liv cautioned. He's got a point, and given what you said happened at the boat party, it makes sense that some other people could be infected, Naruto remarked. And if there is a true zombie out there that has gone full-on zombie mode, as Liv says, then we need to stop them before Seattle turns into World War Z. Fine, Liv said, we'll go zombie hunting. So, how are we doing with our hit-and-run victim? Ravi inquired. Pretty straightforward. The cause of death is probably cerebral edema, but I need to drain the blood from the pericardial sac to check for heart lacerations, Liv said, returning to the body to resume her work while Naruto remained by her side. When her phone buzzed, he continued to monitor and scan her with his watch's sensor. She walked over, but when she saw the caller ID, she grumbled. Liv messed up with her ex-fiancé Major while she was high on Painter's High. She completed her work and ate the brain of the body she was constructing for Naruto's exams. Marvin Webster, a father of two who worked as an exterminator and resided in the suburbs, was killed by a car. She ate his brains on a cracker with Naruto's pepper salsa and was content. She appeared to be more at ease and satisfied with consuming brains, which was the virus pouring through her body. Naruto's replacement was adequate, but nothing compared to the original. It was strange to see Liv consume a brain, but it was also intriguing, and it was providing him with valuable information. She licked the knife clean after putting the rest of the brain in Tupperware. Blaine did turn up, and after a tense chat with Liv, she told him that she didn't trust him, thereby cutting him off from obtaining brains from her. Before sending him out, she did give him a dozen of Naruto's zombie bars. It appears that he will need to manufacture more. That's when things started to become strange. Liv ended up eating the brain of the actual murderer during the trial for a rich Seattle tech guy, which had some significant negative consequences. There is no feeling, no empathy, and no superiority complex. Liv ate a sociopath's brains. When they were on their way to the abandoned shipyard, Liv commented on how strange it felt to be on a brain that was emotionless. If we're lucky, Liv said as they went through the abandoned shipyard during the day. As someone who enjoys a good prank, it'd be a good one, Naruto said. Better dead than the apocalypse. The rising world of dark and deep waters. It's Milton, on lakes and what hides inside them, Ravi said. Naruto added, like leeches and trash. There are nearly 8,000 recognized lakes in Washington state, and this one is the second largest, Liv explained. Very Wikipedia of you, Naruto murmured, scanning her with his watch once more. How do you feel, besides like you could win on Jeopardy? As if I can appreciate and be excited by that. I'm completely numb. Things that should bother me just bounce right off, Liv explained. It sounds like it could have some advantages, Ravi observed. Naruto corrected him, saying, more like a drag. I agree with Naruto. It's colder than apathy. This is the brain of someone who could kill people and not care, Liv said when they heard some rustling and growling. Wait, did you just hear something? Ravi inquired. Naruto triggered his watch's sensor, which detected movement but no signs of life. There was no body heat or heartbeat, only the movement of something human-sized. Like someone muttering the word brains. Liv responded. If you heard aimless shambling of the undead, it could just have been me. When they observed Naruto walking near the pier's edge, Ravi exclaimed, you don't shamble. What exactly is it? There's definitely something here, Naruto said as his sensor led them to a boarded-up old water silo. Stay back. He started peeling the boards apart to see what was within. He requested Ravi and Liv remain back because he's the fastest and could evade a zombie faster than any of them. You know, many hitmen have an antisocial personality disorder. It's what makes them good hitmen, Ravi continued while Naruto worked. Yeah. Makes me miss the days when low blood sugar made me a little bitchy, Liv said as Naruto managed to remove enough of the boards to have a glimpse inside. When he lowered his head, he heard the snarling and smelled the decay. You're going to want to see this, Naruto said. Ravi and Liv approached him to see what he saw, which was a rotting female zombie imprisoned in the mud of the ancient silo. Her skin had putrefied, her hair was falling out, and she resembled a zombie at this point. Marcy. Liv grumbled, surprised to find her old pal down there. When the zombie Marcy spotted the three of them, she hissed and tried to grasp them, but her hands and body couldn't reach. Do you know her? This is incredible. Look at her, she's real, Ravi exclaimed. Liv remarked, she looks like a melted candle. Well, she's been in here for months, and she's still alive, Ravi said. That's debatable. Marcy was a fellow hospital resident who invited me to the boat party where I was turned into a zombie. I went to her funeral. Her mother was a shambles, Liv added. Ravi inquired, are you sure it's her? I recognize the necklace. Her grandmother's pearls. Marcy wore them every day, Liv said as she moved away from the silo. I can't imagine how horrible it must be to see someone you know reduced to. Ravi's sentence was cut short when Liv flung a rock down and smacked zombie Marcy in the head. Did you really just throw a rock at her? Liv continued to do so until Naruto grabbed her wrist. Alright, that's enough of that. This is your sociopath brain motivating you. Let's take a break, Naruto replied. At the very least, we found her, which gives us a good idea of what this virus can do if brains are scarce. Or maybe there's a chance to cure her? Ravi suggested as he pulled a small cooler from his luggage. I'm guessing that's not chicken noodle soup, Liv said. What if the deterioration is reversible? I mean, what happens if a zombie this far gone gets to feed? Ravi suggested as he opened the cooler and took some brains out. Marcy, lunchtime, he yelled down below, and zombie Marcy simply growled and began devouring the brains as quickly as she could. That is what we like to call an encouraging parasympathetic response. I'm sorry to break it to you, Ravi, but in all my tests and predictions, once the virus has taken over the host, there is no coming back, Naruto said before super speeding down and then back up. He was holding a vial of thickening blood when they noticed him. However, more data is fine with me. I'll do some analyzing and see what I can get. That's more like it, Ravi commented. He and Naruto returned to the mortuary, while Liv went to the police station to speak with Detective Babino. She became his companion as a result of the memories she obtained from eating brains, which she said were visions and that she was psychic. The two continued their investigation into the Wally Walker case and the probable Marvin Webster connection. Naruto spent the time researching zombie Marcy's blood and running numerous simulations on a possible treatment. He may have stolen a laptop and changed it for his own use, as well as utilizing some of Ravi's equipment while tending to some dead. Naruto enjoyed being able to test his scientific abilities with this zombie virus. He'd never seen anything like it on his planet, and solving it would be the world's greatest puzzle. With his super genius brain, which had most certainly reached the stage where, if tested, his IQ would easily exceed 300, he was able to better grasp the virus and how it made its way through the body and infected its host. The monster was like a plague, and if Liv and Ravi didn't watch out, it could transform the entire planet into the next Walking Dead. While Ravi was optimistic about zombie Marcy's recovery, the blood tests he performed just confirmed his beliefs and what he expected to happen. She was too far gone, and if a zombie went without brains for long enough, the virus would ruin their body and mind, turning them into a shambling corpse hungry for brains and willing to kill everyone to acquire them. He sped towards the city after producing another batch of brain bars, as he was calling them, to obtain the two things he was certain were responsible for what happened to Liv and what triggered the zombie epidemic on the boat: Utopium, a new medicine in Seattle, and Max Rager, an energy drink. After many hours of seeing zombie Marcy, Ravi returned from a toilet break to find Naruto seated at his desk with numerous little drug bottles and dozens of opened cans of Max Rager energy drink. If anyone else came in right now, they'd think you needed help, Ravi explained. Or I let you see me like this, suggested Naruto. If anyone came down here, like a cop or something, I'd be able to hide everything in your office before they could see anything. Hard for me to argue with a man who can break the sound barrier in his sneakers, Ravi remarked as he walked over to the table and noticed the cans of Max Rager energy drink on the table. Can speedsters get a sugar rush? Not exactly. Our metabolisms burn through calories and food so quickly that we don't feel anything. Food is just fuel. Even with coffee. Kind of a bummer when it comes to alcohol, though, Naruto explained. I suppose you think you found the underlying cause of the boat party zombie massacre? Ravi inquired, and Naruto nodded. I have, and I narrowed it down to 3 components. As any good doctor knows, the human genome is filled with junk cells that are unlocked during years of evolution when certain changes in environment or circumstance occur, such as us walking on 2 feet or having opposable thumbs. Gideon managed to isolate one of the genomes in Liv's blood sample that isn't present in yours or anyone who isn't infected. And when they scratched and infected Blaine, Liv, and Marcy, the virus activated the same genome that causes the zombie transformation, which is why their bodies go on the defensive, which is why they can still walk and talk, but they need brains to survive, Ravi continued, and Naruto agreed with a snap of his fingers. Exactly. Now, I went over every single CSU, police officer, coroner, and hospital report from that night, and I think the other 2 factors in this zombie creation are the new drug Utopium and the energy drink Max Rager, Naruto stated. The boat party was hosted by Max Rager, and there were hundreds of empty cans at the party, as well as several vials of the drug Utopium, which I have no idea what it is, but it's something. It's relatively new and making the rounds. I've had to deal with a few odds from the stuff, Ravi muttered as Naruto patted him on the arm. I'm afraid to ask you where you got these? I did my citizen duty and busted a few Utopium dealers and took their stuff. No one even knew I was there. Anyway, according to the Vice reports I read through at super speed, the batch on the boat is some kind of tainted or new batch. I'm thinking something in Utopium when combined with Max Rager triggers the zombie transformation. Naruto said, taking one of the Max Rager cans. And FYI, don't drink this stuff. Whoever made it highly addictive, but there are a bunch of ingredients in this thing that aren't on the label, and Gideon believes that some of them can cause some serious emotional and rage issues. Whatever Max Rager didn't want published in this stuff with the utopium is our zombie catalyst. Once I figure out the correct ratio, we'll be one step closer to finding an antidote. Hopefully soon, because these brains I'm on are the worst, Liv said as she entered the mortuary. My best friend in the world, and I couldn't even muster an apology for blindsiding her. I was such a jerk, and I don't even care. You sound like you care, Ravi observed. Because I know I should, but I don't because the entire world is behind 50 feet of glass, Liv grumbled. You could always eat another brain, Ravi suggested, pointing to the elderly lady on the table. Liv approached the dead woman's charts and began reading them. Mrs. Marion Evans, asphyxiation in a nursing home, sold. But I feel obligated to remind you about Wally Walker. If you eat her, there will be no more Marvin visions, and whoever hired him to kill Wally will most likely get away with it, Ravi explained. See, I know you're right, and I'll rally, Liv mumbled. These brains scare the hell out of me, and I'm afraid of the person I'm becoming. The fact that you're aware of what's happening and afraid of what's happening is a good sign. Don't worry, Liv. You're gonna be fine. Soon this will be over and you can eat another brain. Naruto told her when he noticed some shadows near the door, so he quickly super sped around and all trace of his research and what he was doing was hidden in Ravi's room. There was no hassle, no fuss, and no evidence. He was sitting in his chair, drinking some water, when Liv's fiancé Major entered with a teenager. Liv, I need your help. Jerome and I have been upstairs for the past 2 hours getting a master class in being ignored by cops. I'm sorry I haven't responded to your text message, but things have been. Liv said, it's fine. Why do you need a cop? Major told the teenager he was with, tell her. 4 days ago, my roommate took his skateboard out and said he was going to the park for a couple of hours. Liv took them to meet Detective Babineau in the hopes of finding their lost youngster. She then resumed working on their case with the detective. XXXXX line break Naruto, Ravi, and Liv returned to the shipyard the next afternoon to check on zombie Marcy. Fortunately, she didn't escape, and despite Ravi's assurances that she'd be alright, Liv's cold sociopath brain understood he was hoping for too much. Naruto's super genius brain was aware of this as well, but it was based on facts and research rather than an antisocial personality problem. Naruto dismantled the wooden boards to get a better look inside, and they saw zombie Marcy again. There is literally no progress. Marcy? I'm here with Liv Moore. She worked at the hospital with you. You were a resident there. Marcy? Ravi yelled out, but all he got were more zombie groans and her staring at him as if he were her next meal. Liv stated, it didn't work. Well, we'll have to keep trying to. Naruto convinced him to halt by saying, Ravi, I know you were hoping for a miracle, but all of my tests show that when the virus reaches this point, it's too late, she's a full zombie now. We have to get rid of it, Liv added. Her. She's a person, Ravi said. She's a ticking time bomb. What if she scratched the kid who took the photo? What if someone stumbled in here and fell in? What if someone lets her out? Liv inquired. He replied, we'll transport her. To where? The morgue. The morgue at the police station, Liv scoffed. You're talking about killing someone. What if it was you down there? Ravi inquired. I'm hoping someone will put me out of my misery, Liv replied. This isn't you. This is that sicko in your head. Do you remember your Hippocratic oath? Ravi asked. I will prescribe regimens for the good of my patients according to my ability and judgment and never do harm to anyone. You're a doctor. You should know better. Naruto moved in between him and Liv and said, Ravi, stop. Look, I understand you were hoping for a miracle, but you're also a doctor and a scientist, and the facts speak for themselves. The virus has completely killed all traces of the host when it progresses this far. Marcy is gone, and whether you like it or not, she's a literal walking plague. There's nothing we can do for her. How can you say that? Ravi asked. You're a superhero, you're supposed to protect the innocent and save people. Key work is people, Ravi. Look at her, Naruto said, pointing to the zombie Marcy who kept biting at them. She's gone. Marcy is dead, and that virus is keeping her body moving to spread it like a plague. Feeding her 100 brains won't bring her back. I refuse to believe that. Liv is proof, Ravi said, reaching for a pole he'd brought with him. He inserted a syringe into the end of it in order to retrieve more blood samples from zombie Marcy. If I can do a biopsy, I'm sure I can save her. Ravi, stop, Naruto yelled as Ravi approached the opening and attempted to inject Marcy with the syringe. He missed the first 2 attempts before she grabbed the pole and drew him in. Ravi. He dashed over to see Ravi stand up again as Marcy tried to grasp him. Guys, I need a little help. Naruto noticed Liv was simply standing there, so he leapt down and kicked zombie Marcy back. Ravi, get behind me. Ravi rushed behind him as Marcy shambled back to her feet, starving. I'm sorry, Marcy. Please rest in peace. As Naruto squeezed his right palm to activate his gauntlet, zombie Marcy lurched towards them. With a painful crunch, he drove a sharp blade out of his forearm and into her head. Naruto drew his sword out and lowered Marcy's corpse, causing her body to tremble. Liv was watching everything when she suddenly snapped back to reality, like if a train had hit her. Oh my goodness, are you two okay? We're fine, Liv, Naruto told her as he wiped some mud from his palms and retracted his blade. We can get the sample now, Ravi exclaimed as Naruto walked up and took the necklace from Marcy's body. He then turned to look at Liv and tossed them up for her. Liv assisted Naruto and Ravi in exiting the silo, where they dragged Marcy's body with them and placed it in a plastic sheet to be burned in an incinerator. Naruto and Ravi were forced to change their clothes and place them in a rubbish bag to be burned. He'd have to thoroughly sanitize Naruto's flash ring and watch afterwards. Fortunately, Ravi had brought some additional clothes. Naruto changed into sports shorts and a black t-shirt before disinfecting his hands and face. Okay, we'll have to burn it all to be safe, because the blood could be a contaminant, Ravi stated, and Naruto agreed. You two almost died. Dot and I did nothing, Liv grumbled. Naruto reassured her, we're fine. Liv. Ravi drew her attention. We're fine. Naruto saved me, and you were terrified for us when you realized what had happened. All that sociopath swimming through your system, and you still found your way through. This brain, it's not who you are. When her phone buzzed with a text from Detective Babino, Liv mustered a smile in that small consolation. He needed Liv and Ravi to help him with the case, which was fine. Ravi instructed Naruto on how to dispose of the body, which he accomplished with lightning speed. After that, he took a bleach bath. Twice, before changing his clothing and sanitizing his belongings. He was good to go once Gideon gave him the go-ahead. When Liv came, he spent the remainder of that time working on zombie research, building more brain bars and such. Naruto was dressed in black Nike running sneakers, black pants, a red t-shirt, and a gray and white zipper coat long-sleeve jacket hoodie when she entered the mortuary. New look? She inquired. Yeah. Decided to go with a new look. I'd been wearing kind of the same stuff for a while, so I decided to change it up. Settle the case. The bad guy is going to jail, she said. How about your brain? Hitman brain is starting to wear off, she said, and he knew what she meant. And all the emotions just rush back, he added, to which she nodded. Yeah, I've been a zombie for months, but I've never felt like a monster until I ate a sociopath's brains. A part of me wants to eat another piece to keep the feelings from returning, Liv admitted. But then I think about what Marcy must have been going through, all alone in the dark. Feeling that pain doesn't make it go away, it just makes you feel alive, Naruto stated as he stood up and hugged Liv. She put her arms around Will as the torrent of emotions that had recently returned to her hit her hard. She sobbed into his chest, and he held her close, just letting her weep it all out. She required it. XXXXX line break. Liv and Ravi were going about their business at the mortuary the next day after the zombie Marcy incident. Liv was back to normal, munching on some Naruto's brain bars to tide her over till her next brain. Liv did deliver the necklace to Marcy's mother, which provided her with much-needed closure and peace. When Naruto arrived with a box in his backpack, she and Ravi were putting one of the dead away. You going somewhere? Ravi inquired. Actually, this is goodbye for now, Naruto said. It's about time I try to get back home. As much fun as I've had here and on my vacation in Seattle, I need to get back to my Earth. I'm sorry to see you go. It's been a pleasure having you here, Ravi stated. What about the zombie cure? I'm still working on it, and despite my super brain, this isn't going to be an easy one, Naruto said as he approached Ravi and handed him a flash drive. This is a copy of all my zombie virus research, tests, and simulations. You can do whatever you want here, but when I get back to Star Labs, I'll be able to make some real progress. The next time I visit, I'll have something to test. Here's hoping your next visit isn't too long, Liv murmured as she hugged him. Be careful and take good care of yourself. You, too, Liv. As soon as I find a cure for the zombie virus, I'll be back, But not without some gifts, Naruto said, opening the box he was carrying to reveal a variety of hot sauces. I went shopping and got you some artisanal hot sauces to revive those dead taste buds. Oh, those look interesting, Ravi commented as Naruto rushed back and forth into the lab, carrying 4 cardboard boxes with him. Are those all hot sauce too? No, I kept the oven running and made more brain bars. I made a little over 600, so you'll be fine for a while, Naruto explained before hugging Ravi farewell. Take good care, Ravi. I should be saying that to you, because you're the one who's going to travel the multiverse right now, and if you happen to run into another version of me who is more successful or rich, punch him for me, Ravi inquired. Will do, Naruto said as he walked to the exit. Take good care, Liv. Take care, Naruto, she said as she waved goodbye, and he saluted them before his eyes flashed with lightning and he dashed out of there. He dashed out of Seattle and focused, drawing on the Speed Force to open a doorway into the multiverse that rapidly closed behind him. Racing across the expanse of multidimensional energy was a one-of-a-kind feeling that could not be adequately described. It has to be experienced. He closed his eyes and focused on his planet. His home. Earth 1. He concentrated on Star Labs and his central city, traveling over several dozen multiverse Earths and getting closer to one in particular. The closer he came, the more Speed Force energy he seemed to gather, but the second he got close, he met a blue energy barrier that threw him back and into another Earth. Suffice it to say, his voyage was far from over, as he found himself on a planet that was not his own. But what was going on Earth 1 when Naruto vanished? Let us investigate. Earth 1 Central City, USA, August 2015. A red flash of yellow lightning raced through Central City, preventing multiple crimes and repairing most of the city's damage. Central City was nearly destroyed 3 months ago when a gigantic black hole formed in the sky, causing millions of dollars in damage and several lives. If it hadn't been for Central City's guards, the Flash and Impulse, the death toll would have been much higher. Whatever they did, they were successful in stopping the singularity and saving Central City. But it didn't come cheap. When he wasn't at work, Barry spent every waking moment helping to repair the city that was nearly devastated due to a decision he and the crew made. Businesses and buildings were repaired overnight, and as the Flash, he kept the city safe, yet all he felt was remorse. He is responsible for nearly destroying the city. Guilty that people perished as a result of a decision he made, and guilty that Naruto and Rani put their lives in danger to protect the city and were killed. He'd been carrying that guilt with him ever since. He felt especially bad about Naruto. His companion and buddy, someone who spent his time assisting this city both inside and outside of the mask, putting his life in danger for the team and the community, and he had to die. Barry felt terrible about how things had ended between them, but there was nothing he could do about it. As a result, he maintained the city secure, cleaned up his mess, and kept the Star Labs operational. He wasn't the only one, though. Stag Industries, Inc. The Stag Industries Board of Directors was holding a video conference meeting to discuss the company's future plans, and the person they were video chatting with was none other than Naruto Namikaze, the owner and operator of Star Labs who bought the controlling shares of the company months earlier. Our departments are being reorganized for the divisions and projects you laid out in your last correspondence a month ago, one of the board members said into the monitor where Naruto was video conferencing them from his office in Star Labs. That's good. Keep me updated if there are any issues or concerns, and I trust that all of your employees have been told that none of them will be laid off. Naruto inquired. Yes, Mr. Namikaze, but it's odd that no layoffs have been made after such a large buyout, another board member commented. Well, that's not the type of company and business I want to run, Naruto pointed out. There is more than enough profit for everyone to go around, so we should focus on rebuilding this city and moving forward. Speaking of that, Mr. Namikaze, when do you think you'll have a chance to tour the facilities here at Stag Industries? A board member inquired. Not that these video calls aren't informative. You did say you wanted a tour of the facility when you bought a controlling interest in the company. I did, but before the city was nearly destroyed, I've sent over the new additions and modifications that can be made to the Stag Industries building, and when time allows, I'll find the right time to visit, Naruto said. If you have any urgent issues or concerns, please contact me. Goodbye. After that, the video conversation ended, and the board exited the conference room. Star Laboratories' Gaara reclined back in his chair, exhausted, inside the Star Labs office from where the video call had originated. Gaara answered the phone instead of Naruto. Gideon and Cisco created special software that enabled Gaara to video call as Naruto and sound just like him. It's how he was able to do business with Stag Industries, which was now owned by Star Labs. Naruto's final desire was for Gaara to keep the Star Labs operational. He put his life in danger to save him from Orochimaru, restore his life, and save the city. Gaara had no choice but to keep the Star Labs going. He was fortunate to have some assistance. Cisco was present, and Gaara hired his brother and sister to assist him in running the company because he knew he couldn't do it alone. Gideon did roughly 90% of the work in running the company, but there were several things she couldn't do. Barry also assisted when things needed to be done quickly and when the black hole caused damage to the building. The arc reactor and pipeline were both fine, so things were not dire. FEMA was still developing a theory about the black hole, and many conspiracy websites claimed that something Star Labs done produced it, but it was baseless and, fortunately, went nowhere. It was unclear how long this would last. Gaara had to keep the Star Labs working after the singularity. They assisted people affected by the incident and provided money to those in need while continuing to operate their usual business. While some of Naruto's novel innovations, such as arc reactor-fueled power cells, VTOLs, holographic display projectors, new smart workstations, and smartwatches, were put into production, not much more was done. Gaara was able to start manufacturing since Naruto had purchased a controlling interest in Stag Industries before the Black Hole incident. Their financial relationship with Wayne Enterprises was still running well, and Star Labs was technically more profitable than it has been for several months. He was also getting proposals for business from other corporations and government authorities, and the paperwork Naruto completed to establish up Atlas Security was completed. Thus Star Laboratories technically owned a private security company, but only on paper. Gaara had made no progress on it or any other potential transactions since he wasn't sure he could. When Naruto and Rani died, it was decided that they would not be listed on the city's list of deceased. Why? Linda refused to allow Joe to report it. News from Central City. Iris West was walking out of the copy room, checking over a story draft, when she noticed Linda at her desk. She was typing up a tale and that was the end of it. She stayed to herself and just wrote for her editor. Many others observed Linda's alteration, but she assured them that she was well. Linda sipped her coffee and turned to her side, where a little stool with a large cushion was placed up, and Kurama, Naruto's pet fox, was laying down on this cushion. The fox simply lay down with his head on his paws. He didn't do much unless he was fed or Linda took him for a stroll. He was missing Naruto. He wasn't alone in this. Linda was in a poor way for the first few weeks after Naruto left. She cried all night and barely made it to work. She used up all of her vacation days for over a month since she didn't want to leave the property. It was just she and Kurama lamenting their loss. Iris did manage to get her out of the condo for lunch one day, and the others assisted her in re-entering the world and returning to work. But, as anticipated, Linda and Caitlin were not the same. Caitlin left Star Labs after all of this transpired, and no one has heard from her since she started a new job at Mercury Labs. There was some speculation as to why Caitlin joined Mercury Labs, but she stated that it was for personal reasons. Despite being grilled, she never revealed anything Star Labs ever did to Dr. McGee. She had recently started a new career and was working on new initiatives for her new life. Before getting her suitcase and picking up Kurama, Linda sent her newest draft to her editor. They left Central City Picture News and went to see Tsunade and Shizune at the shelter. Linda stepped in and found the kids playing or watching TV in the living room. When Tsunade and Shizune sat down to eat, Linda walked in. She lowered Kurama, who instantly walked over to a nearby altar and lay down. This altar served as a tribute to Naruto. They displayed his picture, as well as candles and souvenirs from the kids during his time there. Shizune approached Kurama and stroked his head as the poor fox whined. Tsunade comforted Linda with a hug. They were all missing Naruto terribly. They attempted to contact Jiraiya, and Barry was able to send him a message explaining what had occurred. Jiraiya was upset after learning the next day about a massacre in Albania that killed thousands of Albanian mob members. Oliver and the others didn't either. Naruto's loss was felt by only them. He was still alive and operating Star Laboratories, according to the rest of the world. He'd recently become a shut-in and was hard at work. Linda preferred it that way. She knew he'd return soon. All they had to do was prepare for when he did. She hoped her speedster would return to his lightning rod. She was optimistic. Part 3 has come to an end. To be continued.
That's it for this podcast and for listening to this video. I hope you did enjoy this Naruto story, and if you did, like, share, and subscribe for more. And thank you all for helping support, and have a great day.